Welcome back to AFTV and another In Focus. Now, last week's was all about Eze and Merino. We talked about that left 8 position and how they'd offer very different things, but they are the two most linked players. And look, even then, I'm sort of adding a bit more to the Eze stuff than there's really there. Merino's been talked a lot about in the press. Eze has been linked to a little bit, but there's not really much else when it comes to other midfielders. So in this video, I want to talk about the alternatives, because a lot of midfield targets have actually been signed up, moved on, or are just not attainable for Arsenal. So we're kind of thinking we need to address that area of the pitch. Who's even available? Now, before I go into the rest, I do want you to let me know in the comment section below, firstly, who you'd like me to do an In Focus on next week. We'll be out in the States, so let me know if there's anyone in particular I should do it on then. But also other midfielders that you think we're missing, midfielders that you think for some reason aren't getting talked about, that deserve sort of more praise, more recognition, that Arsenal would do really, really good, shrewd business in going to sign this summer. So let me know if there are others. But talking about those players that I just mentioned that we're not really kind of sure what's going on with them. Some have moved on and it just feels like maybe they're not targets for Arsenal anymore. I touched on Eze. Big problem there is that while he has a £60 million release clause, 50 million of it might have to be up front. Doesn't sound like a deal Arsenal may be able to pull off, according to some reports. Mikel Merino is wanted by Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. So there's no guarantee Arsenal could get him. Of course, he's played in the Premier League before, done really well at Sociedad. Would he want to stay in Spain? We will see. Douglas Luiz has gone from Aston Villa to Juventus already. That is all signed, sealed, delivered, and it's been done for a good 3 weeks now. Arsenal aren't going to be picking up a previous target in Luiz. Amadou Onana, we were talking about him only a week or two ago. We were saying that is still one we could do and would want to do, but he's gone from Everton to Aston Villa. And Xavi Simons, who can play in the 10, is a different profile to other players we've looked at, but is one we have been linked to, reportedly interested in. He's going to Bayern Munich. So with those 5 out the way, what's kind of left? Well, let me start with Fabian Ruiz and his player profile. He's 28 years old. He's a central midfielder. He's left-footed and he's 6'2". Now, immediately he feels like he can do a lot of what Granit Xhaka might have done in the team and more. Fabian Ruiz, I think I first watched him in 2019 when he was playing against Italy in the Under-21 Championships for Spain. He looked really good in Spain's midfield. Good, flary players, got a really good strike from distance, and is the kind of player that, while he's an out-and-out central midfielder, that's why I put his position is a central midfielder, he's not necessarily a DM or attacking midfielder, he can contribute to all phases of play. Now, if we just take it to the tactical pad for a second, when I'm looking at the Arsenal 11, I feel that that is the area that really needs addressing, that left 8 position. I know there's talk of a 6, there's debate as to how you could sort of, get that midfield makeup, but I think if we take Ruiz and just drop him in there, I think he's perfect for it. I think he really, really suits this area of the pitch where Rice and Ruiz, and in fact this is probably a good time to get rid of that square there, where Ruiz and Rice could play closer together so Ødegaard can get forward, but also Ruiz can be a bit of an underlapper, can sort of be dangerous in this area around the box, and could complement at 6'2" a Declan Rice and give us some of that power, height in midfield, but class and technical quality as well. I thought he was brilliant at the Euros. I thought he was really good, not just sort of doing stuff on the left side of the pitch, coming over as well, contributing to different areas of the game. Yeah, he was really good for Spain. He started in, Spain's Euro 2024. What year are we in? Euro 2024 winning campaign. So he did a really, really great job. And talk about my next player, who, guess what, is also from that list of players who won the Euros with Spain, and it's Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo, at 26 years old, he's more of an attacking midfielder / left winger as well, right-footed and 5'9". So very, very different profile to Fabian Ruiz, but also a very good player. By the way, I didn't actually mention with Fabian Ruiz that PSG may be looking to sell. Probably should have mentioned that they're going for Osman, so another reason why Fabian Ruiz might be available. Now, Dani Olmo, there's been rumours and talks and reports linking him with moves away. Chelsea have been linked. I think Man City feel like the most likely destination at the moment, just from the bits and bobs I've seen on social media. But could Arsenal go in for a player like Dani Olmo? Now, like I said, as an attacking midfielder / winger at 5'9", he's very different in profile to Fabian Ruiz. But could he be a really good complement to what Arsenal already have? Back to the tactical pad now, and with Fabian Ruiz in that area of the pitch, if we're to take him out and just bring in Dani Olmo, where is he? Here he is. Now, immediately you're thinking, great, well, we talked about Eze last week, didn't we? In that sort of left 8 role, getting up and down the pitch. But I wonder whether you can start to see Ødegaard go over to that side and Olmo take up that space on the right of central midfield. He can definitely play in the 10. Arsenal out of possession could look like that. I mean, Odegaard doesn't lack anything defensively, but then do you lack his press? Do you miss his intensity when it comes to really charging down defenders high up the pitch alongside of Havertz? You could argue you lose something there. But otherwise, in build-up, when Arsenal are getting into this shape, splitting the wingers and getting Odegaard to combine with Martinelli and Olmo to combine with Saka, maybe offer a little underlap, I think there's a really good fit there. So, and you never know, you might tuck in White and Timber and do that as well. I think Olmo could be a really good fit for if Arteta does want to go and approach that 2 10s and a 6 model like he's tried to do with Smith Rowe at times, like we talked about last week with Eze. I just don't know if this is a deal that, well, there's a few things. I don't know if Man City are going to get that deal done. It looks like they probably are and are ahead of it if Arsenal were to even go in for him, Olmo. And also, I don't think Arteta wants to go for that profile in midfield. I keep changing my mind and thinking, well, with Eze links, maybe. But yeah, I'm not sure it's 100% the way he wants to do it. I think he's looking for more of a dual winner, like a Mikel Merino type, like I've said, other clubs are after as well. Who's third on the list? Well, I've got Youssouf Fofana. Now, this is the complete opposite to Dani Olmo. Slightly more similar to Fabian Ruiz, but again, a different profile. Someone who played more as a defensive midfielder, but is also box-to-box, really good ball carrier, really good up and down player. At 25 years old, he's right-footed and he's 6'1". Now, with Fabian Ruiz, I imagine there's going to be a fairly significant price tag of maybe 40 to 60 million, something like that. I think Dani Olmo is pretty similar, though I think there's a release clause. With Youssouf Fofana, we're talking about a player here who is probably available with a year left on his contract. He's probably available for about 20 million. So it feels like the steal of the market for some. A lot of people who watch Youssouf Fofana regularly say this guy's brilliant. He's a very good passer of the ball. He's got a range of passing as well, you know, when it comes to build-up, when it comes to the final third, creating things. But he's not just an out-and-out 6 as well. So where would he fit in? Well, if we just move our fullbacks for a second, remove Olmo, and we get Fofana in the team, I think you're looking at something like this. But what I would say, well, you could have Fofana at the base. I mean, or you could put Fofana left 8. I don't love it, but I'm no expert on the player. I prefer this balance because I think Rice in that second half of the season did show a lot as the 8 going up and down and has been quite dangerous for West Ham in those areas of the pitch as well. With Fofana, if you brought him in, while he feels like the cheaper, more gettable option, are you in danger of having Fofana, Jorginho, Rice and Partey, 4 6s, with Odegaard, Vieira, Havertz can play in the 10 as well. We don't know what's going on with Smith Rowe. He might leave if he stays. You end up once again with 4 6s, 4 10s and no natural 8. So I worry a little bit about the Fofana deal in terms of, is that absolutely the midfielder we need? Whereas Merino, Ruiz, they add kind of a little bit of height and presence, but also they are maybe more natural central midfielders. But I think people who've watched Fofana will say, James, he's a box-to-box, I don't know what you're worried about. Fair enough. I mean, I'm no expert on the player. I just think I see him more as a 6 than as an 8, but you can, at least for the way Arteta would use him, because remember, Partey was an 8 before he came to Arteta and Arsenal, became a 6, but he used that passing, that distribution on him to become a tempo setter, tempo dictator for Arsenal's midfield. So, yeah, we'd love to know what you all think in the comment section below on the Youssouf Fofana pursuit. Right, next player I want to talk about is Joao Neves. Now, with a lot of the players mentioned, and I'm going to touch on 2 others at the end of this video as well, a big question is like the price tag, what it's going to cost. Now, Joao Neves, yeah, they're talking crazy figures, 70, 80, 90, 100 million pounds. I don't see Joao Neves being that doable, but if you want to go big on your midfield, if you want to go with someone who can play a range of positions, complement the different midfield profiles you've got nicely, and also have immense potential and grow into a really good player, Joao Neves feels like a really good fit. Now, he's 19 years old. He's a defensive midfielder / central midfielder, but I will mention he's played 47 senior games as a defensive midfielder with 36 as a central midfielder. I just said senior games. I might be slightly wrong. It might be sort of across his academy career as well a little bit. But he's right-footed and he's 5'9". So again, he's not got that 6 foot plus frame that some central midfielders of Arteta's have had before, but he's got a lot of guile and class. Where would he play? Well, you could just take out Fofana and immediately drop Neves, Benfica's Neves, in that position there. And yet you've got someone who helps him build up. He's got a lot of quality and talent in tight spaces, really good with both feet. He's, you know that word press resistant that gets thrown around. He's the sort of person that can receive the ball off a Gabriel or a Saliba. There they are. And, you know, have some composure to help us play out the back. But could you also see him in this area here. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that. Again, let me know about Joao Neves in the comment section below if you are more of an expert on him. And I'll also say that if you want me to do, you know, an in focus and really go into detail with one of these players, let me know. We can absolutely do that. Hopefully Arsenal actually pursue some of these options. But with Joao Neves, I think you could play him on the left of that midfield three and him be just that little bit more. I like to think the way I keep thinking De Jong could play left of a midfield three, and you have Rice as your presence at the base with Ødegaard and Neves, with Vieira coming in every now and again. Maybe if you have to play a Partey or Jorginho, then you can move Rice to left 8. Neves might be a really good fit, and I think ultimately we need a lot of quality, and I think we need some line-breaking passing in that midfield. We need a little bit of progression. We also need a little bit of class and finesse in the final third. I don't know if Neves is quite that position, but you could see him dropping deep and build up next to Rice, so our fullback can get forward. You could maybe see him in the pockets. Again, I don't know if he's comfortable doing that. I don't know if he's done that for Benfica, but does he have the skill set to? I don't know, maybe. A lot of these players isn't about plucking them from their clubs and going, hey, you did that there, so can you do that here? It's also about saying you've got the skill set and the talent, especially at a young age of 19, to go and work on those skills and those qualities and become this type of player. I don't know. I'm just putting names out there because we are really running out of options for midfield. Maybe something that we weren't expecting comes out as well. Now, the final player I want to chat about is, and it's the name I'm least convinced by, let me just say that, but it's Adrien Rabiot. Now, Rabiot is 29 years old. He's a central midfielder, left-footed, 6'4". So with Rabiot, he's been around a long time. He was linked to the move to Man United, I think last summer, maybe 2 summers ago, in fact. I think it was 2 summers ago. And I remember when he was linked to United then, a lot of people weren't convinced. United fans weren't particularly happy about the deal. He's, you know, kept an important place in the France squad, although has sort of been in and out, I think, in recent years. And his contract's expired at Juventus. And to be honest, I mean, again, we'll just go to the tactical pad very quickly. He is the kind of player that, once again, plays in that area of the pitch, goes alongside Rice, so you can have Ødegaard more in the 10 space at times. But I think the real reason to do this deal, if you're going to do it, and I'm not saying I like it, I'm just putting forward this argument, it's more because I think you can get him on a free transfer. And so with, say, a Smith Rowe leaving for 40 million, you've maybe added a different profile to your midfield while having more to use in other areas of the pitch. So more funds, I mean, to go use on a Nico Williams or a forward of some kind, or get that Calafiori deal finally done. I don't know, that's the only reason, because he's cheap. And look, that's not going to close the gap to Man City. So I don't love the idea. But if it's a case of getting someone to just add numbers, his experience in central midfield, so he can go big at the back and big up front, maybe there's a reason to do all that. What I would say is, when you look at the options, let's leave Rabiot there and move Rice next to him. Then you've got Ødegaard. Let's make our way through the rest of the team. Let's get Vieira on screen there with Ødegaard. Keep Ødegaard to the left of him as the starter. And then you have Partey even, and where's Jorginho? Here it is. There we go. Partey, Jorginho. Let's make a little bit of space for these midfield options. I don't think that's too bad. There you go. That being your kind of, you know, Ødegaard, Partey, Rice start, and then Rabiot, Jorginho, Vieira. And when I say bad, I don't think it's bad. Look, I don't think I would sell Smith Rowe to bring Rabiot in personally. But do I think there's something there in terms of you've got a bit of balance? You've got, you know, 3 players that are 6 foot plus, 3 that are, you know, a little bit shorter, but really known for their kind of technical quality on the ball as well. Lots of sort of range of skill set. I don't know. Again, is that a cheap solution, a cheap way for Arsenal to add something there in terms of squad depth to then be able to go and add in other areas? I don't love it either, guys, but I'm just trying to let you know what's out there on the market. But like I said, if there's anyone I'm missing, let me know. Now, 3 players that I just want to touch on very, very quickly. You might be thinking, why are these not mentioned? Bruno Guimaraes. To be honest, you might have the same problems that you would have with Joao Neves and Benfica. So you could argue that if one's on the list, the other should be on the list as well. Bruno Guimaraes, I just think will be too expensive. And I don't think Newcastle will budge much from 80 million, whereas I can imagine Benfica budging slightly more. So let's see. I'm just not sure that we would go near the kind of figures it would cost to take a Bruno Guimaraes, but let's see. Martin Zubimendi, we've been linked for a long, long time, but it doesn't seem like that's an option for him or for Arsenal anymore. Real shame, though he looked good at the Euros. It would have been a good I think would have been a good balance for this squad, a good addition. But yeah, I mean, can I just say with all this, right? Every time I'm talking about what this squad needs, I find myself changing my mind. You know, I find myself going, well, you know, a 6'2" left-footed central midfielder feels like a nice balance to what we've got. But then I was saying that Joao Neves feels like more the kind of player we need. I think it just depends on how Arteta looks to use these players. And to be honest, I change my mind every day. So if you can help me have some clarity in the comment section below, let me know. The other one that I was just asking around the office, who else in midfield could we add? Someone mentioned Jamal Musiala. And look, I would love him. He'd be perfect. I would shift around Rice to the 6, Erdegaard to the 8 and have him in build-up if it means getting a player like Jamal Musiala in the team. But that just doesn't feel doable at all in this window. Maybe next window, but Arsenal would have to keep challenging for titles, hopefully winning titles, and keep doing big things to attract those kind of players. We're the size of club. But, you know, I think players like Musiala would want proof that we can go and win, and this summer there's a lot of pressure to do that. That's why there's a lot of pressure to get this midfield addition right as well. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, people. This was just a quick list and a quick overview of other players that, from some research I've seen across the market, are potentially available for Arsenal. Would you want any of them? Were you going, James, these are all just... It's just none of them are right. None of them are the ones we need. You probably wouldn't say about Fabian Ruiz and Dani Olmo, to be fair, but you might about the others, and you might just go and get this guy or that guy, because that's what it's going to take to close the gap to Man City, and I'd probably agree with you. So hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to AFTV, and please bring forward other midfield options so I know what else we could possibly do in this window. Catch you in a bit.